أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Picking up with the legendary military ideology of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from page number 576, and this is your humble orator Muhammad Israel. We are completing the Quran, inshallah, tonight on the Muhammadu Gambia channel as well as the Abdul Fattah Muhammad channel. And we will restart it, obviously, from Al-Fatiha. So please do join us for that. And Ramadan Mubarak in advance to everyone all over the world, the globe, everyone in the insides and the out who are professing and looking forward to the Ramadan. May Jalla Jalaluhu give us the treasures of it as we're asking and have asked in the past, all of them into the day of resurrection. Ameen ya Allah, Ameen ya Allah. So we're going to pick up Umar radiallahu anhu, and this is in reference to the relationship between the companions, the Sahaba, senior and junior companions. Umar radiallahu anhu would ask Ibn Abbas about things in the Quran, and he would say, dive deep in knowledge, or dive if difficult cases were brought to him. He would say to Ibn Abbas, "Oh Ibn Abbas, there has come to us a difficult case. You are up to it in similar cases as well." Then he would follow his opinion and he would not call anyone else for the purpose if he was faced with a difficult case. It was narrated that Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu said, "I never saw anyone more quick-witted, more wise, more knowledgeable, and more forbearing than Ibn Abbas. I saw Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu call him when there was a difficult case. Then he would say, here you are. Here is a difficult case." Then he would not follow any view other than his, even though he had around him people of the Muhajirin and the Ansar who had been present at Badrin, the notorious day of Badr. Umar ibn al-Khattab, the battle of Badr. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu described him as the young man of the middle-aged. He has an ever-asking tongue and a smart mind. Talha ibn Ubaydullah said, "I never saw Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu give precedence to anyone over Ibn Abbas." Ibn Abbas stayed very close to Umar ibn al-Khattab as he was keen to ask him questions and learn from him. Hence he radiallahu anhu was one of the companions who transmitted the most of the Quranic commentary and knowledge of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Some scholars have suggested that the most of the knowledge of Ibn Abbas was acquired from Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Umar's care for him helped him to far ahead in knowledge in general and in interpreting the Quran in particular. Hence the Meccan school during the era of Tabi'un was honored by the presence of the scholar of the Ummah and the interpreter of the Quran, Ibn Abbas. At the time of Uthman ibn radiallahu anhu, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu was one of those who were close to the Khalif, and Uthman radiallahu anhu appointed him to lead the people on Hajj in the year in which he was martyred. Nevertheless, some of those who have been influenced by the Orientalist school of thought have tried to distort the image of this scholar of the Ummah by disseminating lies and fabrications about his life. We should all remember that even when it comes to the era of the righteously guided caliphs and the history of the early Islamic period, the Orientalist school of thought is an extension of the work of the Rafidi historians and extreme Shia, who fabricated reports and distorted the biographies of the noble companions. May Allah Jalla Jalaluhu be pleased with them all. The Orientalist historians revived these faults and fabricated reports, molding and shaping them in a modern style under the slogans of objectivity and academic research. They are all lies and falsehood, but many researchers, writers, and historians have led to instability, and Uthman ibn Hanif lost control of Basra and was forced to leave until Ali. So writers and historians have been influenced by those works. Hence, you find in contemporary books of history and literature which are far removed from the methodology of Ahlul Sunnah and based heavily on Orientalist methodologically and stylishly very weird distortions of the lives of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those iblises. One example is the chain made in these books that Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu stole the wealth of the Muslimin in Basra, betrayed his cousin Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, and fled with the stolen wealth to Mecca, and that he started planning to join Mu'awia after having supported Ali radiallahu anhu. That was mentioned shamelessly by Dr. Taha Hussein in his book Al-Fitna Al-Kubra, Ali wa Banuhu. I will quote some of that, in which he said, number 1, 2, and 3, Ibn Abbas' knowledge of religion and worldly matters, and he had status among Banu Hashim in particular and among Quraysh in general and in the hearts of all Muslimin. That could be sufficient to protect him from drifting away from the cousin. 2. Ibn Abbas saw that his cousin's star was in decline and that Mu'awiya's star was in ascendancy, so he stayed in Basra thinking of himself more than his cousin. Number 3, even though Ibn Abbas forgot about himself, his position, and how he should behave for a little while, he did not want to put himself in a position where he should be putting himself as Ali's governor in one of the Muslim regions. Even though Ibn Abbas forgot about himself for a little while, he did not want to put himself in a position where he should put himself as Ali's governor in one of the Muslim regions. There are also other lies and nonsense which the author took from weak and fabricated reports. It is sufficient honor for Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam prayed for him, saying, O Allah, teach him interpretation of the Quran and give him understanding of the religion. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu began his work as governor of Basra after Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu left Basra for Kufa, and he joined Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu just before the Battle of Siffin, having left Ziyad ibn Abihi in charge of Basra. During his governorship of Basra, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu accomplished a number of things, the most important of which was putting the affairs of Sijistan in order after the murder of its governor at the hands of a group of Kharijites. On Ali's instructions, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu sent a number of troops from Basra who managed to kill the Kharijites there, put its affairs in order, and bring security to its people in the 36th year after the Hijriya. Ibn Abbas and the troops of Basra also played a role with Ali ibn Abi Talib in the Battle of Siffin. Ibn Abbas played a role in organizing some of the regions belonging to his province and appointing amirs there who were under his authority. He sent Ziyad ibn Abihi to Persia, where he managed to sort out the situation and discipline the people after they had rebelled. During his time, the people of Astaqar broke their covenant, so he attacked them and disciplined them. In the 36 years after the Hijriya, Mu'awiyah ibn Abi Sufyan sent a man to Basra to promote his cause among his people, but Ziyad ibn Abihi, who was Ibn Abbas' deputy in Basra, succeeded in resisting him until he killed the man in one of the houses of Basra. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu accompanied Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu on many of his ventures in Iraq. If something happened while Ibn Abbas was in Basra, he would keep Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu informed by means of letters that he sent to him continuously. He also wrote letters to ask his opinion about many issues and matters of governorship. In the 38th year after the Hijriya, Ali radiallahu anhu sent Abbas as his deputy in charge of the Hajj. According to At-Tabari, Ibn Abbas remained as governor of Basra until Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu was martyred. The governor of Basra had a number of helpers at the time of Ali ibn Abi Talib, including the judge, the chief of police, the official in charge of the land tax, and others. The province of Basra also included some areas of Persia. From the information cited above, it is clear that after allegiance was sworn to him, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu hastened to dismiss Ibn Amir, who was Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu's governor in Basra, and he appointed instead Uthman ibn Hanifa. Then the Battle of the Camel took place, led to instability, and Uthman ibn Hanif lost control of Basra and was forced to leave until Ali got there radiallahu anhu. After the Battle of the Camel, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu strove to put the province affairs in order. Some turmoil also occurred in Basra later as a result of the Kharijites movement and Mu'awiya's attempt to gain control of that region. Despite that, Basra remained one of the Islamic provinces that belonged to the Caliphate all throughout Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu's era, and his opponents did not manage to gain control of it. In Basra, the leadership abilities of Ibn Abbas came to the fore. He benefited from having kept company with Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, and he was deeply influenced by him. Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu gave him advice and guidance, and he exhorted him from time to time. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, I never benefited from the words of anyone after the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam as I had benefited from a letter written to me by Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, in which he said, a man would feel upset to miss out on what he could never have gotten, and he would be pleased to get what he never could have missed. So let your pleasure be in that which you get of matters pertaining to the hereafter, and let your regret be with regard to what you miss of that. Whatever you get of worldly gains, do not be too happy about it, and whatever you miss of that worldly matters, do not be too upset about it. Let your concern be what happens after death. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu was one of those who prayed Qiyam regularly. It was narrated that Ibn Malikha said, I accompanied Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu from Mecca to Al-Madinah. He used to pray 2 by 2, and he would spend half the night in prayer, reciting Quran slowly, letter by letter, and weeping and sobbing a great deal. He radiallahu anhu wept so much that traces of that were left on his cheeks. It was narrated that Abu Raja said, I saw Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, and the bottom of his eyes was like a worn out shoelace because of weeping. He also used to fast on Mondays and Thursdays. It was narrated that Sa'id ibn Abi Sa'id said, I was with Ibn Abbas, and a man came and said, O Ibn Abbas, how do you fast? He said, I fast Mondays and Thursdays. He said, why? He said, because deeds are taken up at that time, and I like my deeds to be taken up when I am fasting. He was also very generous and acknowledged the position and status of the senior companions. May Allah Jalla Jalaluhu be pleased with them all. Once Abu Ayyub al-Ansari was going through some financial difficulties and was burdened with debt. He came to stay with Ibn Abbas, who emptied his house for him and said, I shall do for you what you did for the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by being his first host in Al-Madinah when he migrated there. Then he said, how much is your debt? Abu Ayyub said 20,000, so Ibn Abbas gave him 40,000 and 20 slaves and everything that was in the house. He was one of the most eloquent of people and had an amazing ability to make listeners understand. It was narrated that Al-Amasha said, Abu Al-Wa'il told us Ibn Abbas addressed us when he was the leader of the Hajj. He started to recite Surah An-Nur, reciting and explaining the meaning. I said, I have never seen or heard a man who speaks like that. If the Persians, Romans, and Turks heard him, they would become Muslim. He was one of the most handsome, most eloquent, and most knowledgeable of people. It was narrated that Masruq said, when I saw Ibn Abbas, I thought he was the most handsome of people. When he spoke, I thought he was the most eloquent of people. When he preached, I thought he was the greatest of people. Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad said, I never saw any talk of falsehood in the gathering of Ibn Abbas when he radiallahu anhu lost his sight before his death. He said in a verse concerning that, if Allah Jalla Jalaluhu takes the light from my eyes, still there is light from that light and on my tongue and in my heart. He was one of the most influential people of his age. In brief, he was one of the best examples of the heirs of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. 1.9 Kufa, when Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu was martyred, his governor in Kufa was Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. After allegiance was sworn to Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ali radiallahu anhu confirmed Abu Musa in that position. Abu Musa radiallahu anhu accepted the people's oath of allegiance to Ali, and he wrote to tell him about the attitude of people of Kufa concerning swearing allegiance to him. Many of them agreed to it and accepted it. When Amir al-Mu'minin left Medina to go to Iraq, he started asking about Abu Musa in particular. On the way to Iraq, he was met by a man from Kufa. Ali ibn Abi Talib asked him about Abu Musa, who answered, if you want peace and reconciliation, then Abu Musa is the man who can help with that. But if you want to fight, then Abu Musa is not the man who can help with that. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu said in response, by Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, I do not want anything but peace and reconciliation unless it is rejected by the other party. He said, I have told you what I have told you. Later on, it became clear that Abu Musa al-Ash'ari was inclined towards reconciliation and making peace, and he did not want there to be fighting among the Muslimin. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu sent Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr radiallahu anhu, Ammar ibn Ali Yasir, Al-Hasan ibn Ali, and others in delegation to urge the people of Kufa to mobilize before the Battle of the Camel, which we will discuss later on. The people of Kufa asked Abu Musa about the situation and consulted him about going out to fight. He said, what is in your best interest with regard to the hereafter is to stay. As for what is in the worldly interest, it is to go out on the campaign, but you know best about your situation. A number of people of Kufa were convinced to go out with Al-Hasan. After numerous lengthy debates between them and Al-Hasan, it was said that nearly 9,000 men went out with him. A number of reports suggested that the governorship of Abu Musa ended during this period, just before the Battle of the Camel. Some reports state that Al-Ashtar, who was one of Ali's commanders, had expelled Abu Musa al-Ash'ari and his workers from the palace of Kufa and had taken it over. There were also reports that Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu had dismissed him in writing and appointing Qarda ibn Ka'b al-Ansari as governor of Kufa in his place. Inshallah, we will stop this one here at page number 583. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdika wa tabaraka asmu rabbika wa ta'ala jadduka wa la ilaha ghayruk wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.